What's up, my fellow fiends? It's Nim here, back again with more RPG horror stories. I apologize for today's story being shorter than usual. I just started a new job and things have been kind of hectic. Anyway, enough with the real life stuff. Let's get into that post. This is so much longer than I expected. It's kinda very weird, but hopefully entertaining. This story happens right after my very first game in D&D. It was a really fun game. Long story short, I died trying to rip a ruby out of a golem's face. That game ended really quickly, so 3 of us and the DM decided to play a new, impromptu, rushedly made game. Not as terrible as it sounds. As the DM scrounged a game together, I told the group how I'd like to try playing another character I had made. The 2 other players decided to switch too, so each character was new to us. Our party: my Goliath barbarian named Ophelia, Bobbert's human fighter named Lance, Drake's human barbarian named Blade. In case Bobbert didn't give it away, the player names are fake. When it was prepped, the DM gave us a rundown of what was happening. Basically, we were saving a town sieged by pirates. After Bobbert introduced Lance, Drake introduced Blade. While not quite an edgelord, he was certainly an edge squire. Blade looked so edgy he could cut a knife with his face. I followed that masterclass of a character introduction with my own. I mentioned a bit of Ophelia's backstory, how she looked, and trying to get into roleplaying, mentioned how walking into town she looked down at her party. Drake butted in. "How could she be looking down at me? Blade is taller than her." I reiterate Ophelia being a Goliath. "I'm still taller. How tall is Ophelia?" I said 7 foot something. Blade's 8 feet. This was not mentioned at all in his introduction. "But you're a human." "Doesn't matter, I'm taller than Ophelia." I really didn't care enough to complain, and neither did DM. I restart. Ophelia looks down at Lance. "And up to Blade," he interjected. Ugh. Terrible intros done, we run into the city and find a party of pirates to fight, during which Blade dual-wielded great swords, 2-handed weapons. Even my newbie butt knew that was ridiculous. "But he's 8 feet tall," Drake said. "He's strong enough to hold both of them." The DM was very chill and said, "Fine," but also asked me if I wanted Ophelia to start dual-wielding great axes too. "No, Ophelia's too weak to hold 2 great axes." The DM explains how she's basically the same size as Blade, and just as strong, but Drake wasn't having it. I just decided to end it by saying I didn't want to dual-wield axes anyway. I totally did. We eventually won the fight, and Ophelia and Lance celebrated together. Our character chemistry seemed good. Blade was too much of a lone wolf to hang with us. He still got jealous, though. Blade quite rudely pushed Ophelia into Lance, knocking them both over. I'd have been mad, but because Ophelia was so much taller than Lance, my, girls landed on Lance's face. The table all had a hearty chuckle at it, except for Drake, and even our characters bonded over the awkward incident, so all's well that ends well. As the game progressed, mine and Bobbert's characters bonded more and more, and Drake grew more resentful. Eventually, out of jealousy of our characters bonding, or the game not being murder hobo-y enough, Drake decided he'd try and kill us. We'd have kicked Drake out right there, but figured it'd be more satisfying to beat the devil out of him first. And boy was it satisfying. Ophelia and Lance managed to overwhelm Blade, Lance hacking off his leg to bring him to human height, and Ophelia eventually splitting his head in half with a swing of her great axe. Drake, upset at how we handily had tore his character to shreds, threw a rather rude tirade of insults and swears, mostly sexist remarks, and mostly towards me. The sewer flow of swears swarmed before the Discord bloop let us know the DM had kicked him. DM only had more pirate battles planned out, so we finished the game soon after, but hey, it was a cathartic end to that game. TLDR, dude was jealous my character was taller and friendlier than his. You know, it's really frustrating how often sexism seems to pop up in these stories. I love that in a game with magic and dragons, this guy Drake just can't accept the idea that a woman could be stronger and taller than him. That's where he draws the line. Now, I'm not gonna knock the guy for playing an edgy-looking character. After all, they say you shouldn't throw stones in glass houses, and let's just say a lot of my characters are fond of the color black. But what I am gonna say is there is no way his character was 8 feet tall before Ophelia was introduced. And then of course he used it to break the game by dual-wielding greatswords. Not that it helped him in that final fight. I'm glad that everything worked out for OP in the end. Kicking him was definitely the right play. Anyway, thanks for watching everyone. I hope to see you all next week. Bye-bye!